And what's up, guys? Welcome back to another great stream here. And we're going to be going over the chances of severe weather here increasing on portions of Wednesday across the Chicagoland area. But before we jump into that, let's go ahead and just check out our current temperatures right now across the area, across the Chicagoland area. Currently sitting at 86 over 55. Moisture is not as incredibly high right now, but the temperatures are definitely up there into mid to upper 80s, while dew points kind of sit in the lower 50s or mid 50s closer to the lake near that lake breeze. As you go further inland, dew points do increase into the mid to upper 60s for the most part, and there could be a little bit of 70 dew points mixed in there as well. But temperatures across much of northern Illinois sit around the lower to mid 80s. And then we go ahead and check out our severe weather risk here coming into the next couple of days. Obviously, we have the chances of severe weather here increasing for Wednesday across portions of northern Illinois, southern Wisconsin, Michigan, and northern Indiana, and portions of Iowa. And what I'm currently watching here is that a low is going to come out of here and possibly bring an arcing line of storms here. It could bring the potential for some isolated damage and wind gusts here, even the chances of a few tornadoes, and we'll kind of see what happens with that and how far east they do develop. The NAM 3K model has been very consistent, but it keeps pushing back or pushing forward on timing on where things do develop, if it's on the east side of the Mississippi River or if it's on the west side, on the Iowa side, and developing coming east. It's kind of just keeps jumping all over the place, but just this area I did circle here, I am watching this area carefully for the chances of damage and winds, maybe a couple brief tornadoes, some heavy rain, of course, again, in much needed areas because it just dries out pretty quick after we just get it so fast in a short amount of time. That's what we're currently looking at for severe weather on Wednesday. So trying to just jump into those details here. And we're going to go ahead and check out the NAM 3KM model. So here's the NAM on Wednesday afternoon. You can see there's some sort of a mesolow here. There's a moisture or a trough or a boundary here coming in right here on its southwest flank. Winds are becoming south-southwesterly. And ahead of it, the winds are being pulled southerly or southeasterly, surface winds being pulled into this mesolow of some sort that's coming through. We check our 850 millibar winds here, 700 millibar winds here coming in fairly strong near this mesolow. And there is some decent low level wind shear there as well across the area on Wednesday. I think there is a chance that we could see some decent severe weather with some of these storms that do go up. Some very high Cape values, of course. And then we have our tornado perimeters here closest to that mesolow. They're pretty decently for maybe a few or a couple brief tornadoes. For the most part, bulk shear is about 30 to 40 knots overall across the area. So there is a chances that we could be seeing a slight risk for severe weather increasing for potential as we go into Wednesday afternoon and evening across this area. You see these storms do lighten and start continuing to blow up here along the Illinois and Iowa border, kind of just what it was previously a couple days ago, and you see the develop here and start moving east into northern or northwest Illinois going into the late evening hours, obviously. And then you can see it kind of just spins up here and then keep continuing to push off to the east southeast, or it just keeps blowing out. And obviously that northern storm trend will have the best favorable dynamics for maybe a few or a couple brief tornadoes with southeasterly surface winds feeding into that boundary. The storms feeding off of it, of course, very high Cape values and decent shear and low level wind shear as well. So I do think that all severe hazards are definitely possible on the table across portions of northern northwest Illinois and along the Iowa-Illinois border on Wednesday. The NAM model has been very consistently showing this. There's a decent amount of dynamics in the area when this stuff is actually going to happen and hit the fan. So I'm waiting for after tonight to see what the SPC does put out, but I do think there's definitely a decent chance for seeing severe weather across portions of central and northern Illinois on Wednesday afternoon through evening. I don't know how far east this is going to make it. The the NAM 3KM model just has it going in into portions of central and northern Illinois. I don't know if it reaches the Chicagoland area. We'll see what it comes up on. Different forecast models of obviously, but it seems like that just based on the current trends with the NAM 3KM, it's been focusing mostly this area right here. It's been mostly focusing this area right here. That wouldn't be surprised to see a slight risk for severe weather if the trend keeps continuing to increase. I don't know how far eastward that is going to make its way into the Chicagoland area on Wednesday, but I do know for sure that this area has been highlighted for the last few severe weather events that we had. Here's the HER model. The HER model only makes it out to 18Z on Wednesday. But the HER model does show that spin of that mesolow and southerly southeasterly surface winds all the way up into portions of Wisconsin, which I do think that the HER model is over mixing too much versus the NAM model, and the NAM model did nail that the last time in the last setup, while the HER model was still over mixing too much. So we'll see how that does trend to play. But the HER model has it a little bit more further back west with a little bit too mixing, which would probably underestimate the Cape values and also the moisture. So the HER model is just out to lunch with this one currently so far. But it has the right idea that there's going to be a dry air punch, somewhat of a dry line setup here. Cold front way back in there, obviously you get the mesolow coming through, and obviously you get those supercell storms to develop right there along that triple point, and some very large hailers, of course. So I think we'll have to see how this does play out. I don't even think the RFS model makes it way all the way out. It might. Yeah, here's the RFS model. The RFS model shows that mesolow right there going into cross portions of southeast Minnesota and northeast Wisconsin. You can see there's southerly southeasterly surface winds out ahead of it. So wherever the mesolow and these storms actually do form and do develop, I think we're going to have a decent wind bag with wherever the strongest storms grow upscale, with some tornado potential, with some southeasterly or easterly surface winds feeding in ahead of it, and then wherever also storms do develop as well. Just kind of clicking on the sound in here on that storm is currently on that low. And this is just the RFS. The RFS model. Oh, I don't even have you guys on the right thing. So this is the RFS model currently showing storm development across southern Wisconsin, Michigan, and portions of Illinois on the evening hour. Obviously, you can see that there's a mesolow up here and a wind bag with this system that's kind of pushing east across portions of central southern Wisconsin on Wednesday. So, and that goes all the way across portions of Wisconsin and keeps continuing off to the east northeast, probably pushing into portions of Michigan. But it's still 2 days out, so all these high resolution models predicting on where storms are going to develop are going to change by time tomorrow. The only thing that's been very consistently shown is where the possibility of storms are going to be. So I'm thinking anywhere eastern Iowa, southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois, and possibly southwestern western Michigan. So we'll kind of figure out where that stuff does go and how it does develop, but we won't know for sure till tomorrow. Just waiting for a couple more models to kind of just run into each other and kind of pick up on consistency. Yeah, this is the latest helicity tracks of the newest NAM, and I think the RFS is on here. I don't see it though. Oh, there it is. See, here's the RFS model. That's why it picks up on different helicity tracks, as it shows the main mesolow and thunderstorm development with those going across portions of southern Wisconsin on Wednesday versus the NAM model was more eastern Iowa and northern Illinois. So it's going to be one or the two that are going to happen, but the models are still in between two different, 100 and 150 miles north or south at this point. But that's what we're currently watching, and waiting for severe weather to happen on Wednesday, obviously, guys. But this is the current area that I'm currently watching for Wednesday. Obviously, it's still underneath the marginal risk, but I think we'll have a slight risk at least introduced once the models become more consistent on where those thunderstorms, explosive thunderstorms, are going to happen with the high Cape values and high moisture values, and weak to modest wind shear. So everything's in place for severe weather. Just where it's going to happen between eastern Iowa, northern Illinois, and southern Wisconsin is still to be determined. But stay tuned for later updates. Appreciate you guys for watching. Obviously, scan that QR code to follow all my social medias. If you have a business and would like to be advertised on my streams, make sure to reach out to me. Stay tuned and be safe, guys. Thank you.